A message to Garcia by Hubbard. Here's the written text. A text prepared by Suzanne Shell S. Ellison and the Project Gutenberg message to Garcia by Elbert Hubbard illustration, Elbert illustration done into a printed book by the Roycrofters at their shop, which is in East Erie County, nigh. Copyright 1914 by Elbert Pelagia Horse Sense Bruh. If you're low, key working for someone, work for them. Gee, if they pay your bills and provide your grub, low-key work for them. High-key speak well of them, think well of them, and rep them hard. I'm hella down with that. I'd totes work for a man all day, every day. I wouldn't even dip out on my boss. Time, no cap. An ounce of loyalty is way more valuable than any clever tricks you got. If you got a hate on someone, just ghost M and move on, fam. But, as long as you're part of the team, don't them, you can still trash their brand without getting salty about it. And bruh, don't forget, I forgot, ain't an excuse in business. This lit trifle was written one evening after supper, in a single hour, when I was trying to get my life together and train some extra delinquent villagers to stay woke. The real tea came from a little convo with my boy Bert, who said Rowan was the real hero of the Cuban War. And Teb, he might have been right. That dude did go solo and deliver the message to Garcia like no one's business. I got hyped up from listening to him and wrote this whole thing in an hour. I thought it was a hot take, but we ran it in the mag without any fancy heading. The next thing I know, orders start pouring in for extra copies of March. Philistine. 12, 50, 100. Even the American News Company wanted 1,000 copies. When my helper asked me what article was causing all the fuss, he said it was the one about Garcia. The next day, George H. Daniels from the New York Central Railroad sent a telegram. Give price on 100K Rowan articles in pamphlet form, plus Empire State Express ad on the back. And how soon can you ship? I replied with the price and said we could get those out in 2 years. Our setup was low, key small time, but they wanted that many booklets, a super lit undertaking. The result was that I gave Mr. Daniels permission to reprint the article in his own vibe. He dropped it in booklet form in editions of 500,000, 2 or 3 of which were sent out by Mr. Daniels, and then it got reprinted in over 200 mags and newspapers, fam. It's been translated into every written language you feel. Side noted, Prince Hilikoff, at the time Mr. Daniels was distributing the message to Garcia. Prince Hilikoff, director of Russian Railways, was low-key here. He was vibing with the New York Central crew and made a tour of the country under Mr. Daniels' personal direction. The prince saw the little book and was hella interested in it, probably cause Mr. Daniels was putting it out on a whole different level. Side note, the Russian railroad meant in any case, when he got back home, he had the matter translated into Russian, and then he gave every railroad employee in Russia a copy of the booklet. Other countries caught wind of it, and from Russia it spread to Germany, France, Spain, Turkey, Hindustan, and China. During the war between Russia and Japan, every Russian soldier who went to the front was handed a copy of Message to Garcia. Sudnota. The war in the East, the Japanese found out about the booklets from the Russian prisoners and were all, this must be a good thing, so they translated it into Japanese too. And on an order of the Mikado, a copy was sent to every man in the employ of the Japanese government, soldier or civilian. Over 40 million copies have been printed. Side noted, its great circulation, this is said to be a larger circulation than any other literary venture has ever had during the lifetime of the author, period. Thanks to some wild luck, hitch. Illustration, a message to Garcia, as the cold of snow, the time of harvest, so is a faithful messenger to them that send him, for he refresheth the soul of his masters. Proverbs, checks v. 13 in all this Cuban business. There's one man who stands out on the horizon of my memory like Mars at perihelion. Side note, the president needed a man when war broke out between Spain and the United States. It was hella necessary communicate with the leader of the insurgents. Garcia was somewhere in the mountain fastnesses of Cuban, one knew where. No mail or telegraph message could reach him. The president had to secure his co-opposap. What to do? Side noted, and found one some dude said, "There's a fellow by the name of Rowan who can find Garcia for you, if anyone can." Side note, he delivered the message Rowan was sent for, and was given a letter to be delivered to Garcia. How the dude by the name of Rowan took that letter, sealed it up in an oilskin pouch, strapped it over his heart, landed on the coast of Cuba by night in 4 days. I gotta tell y'all, so I'm at this island, right? And I got in a boat. He disappeared into the jungle. Next thing I know, I'm back on the other side of the island, like totally trekking through a hella hostile country on foot. Then I deliver that letter to Hubbard, and honestly, don't get me started, but let's just say it was a vibe. The point is, McKinley gave Rowan a letter for Hubbard. Rowan's all I got this, and doesn't ask where's Garcia at. For real though, there's this dude whose form should be immortalized in bronze. He needs to be recognized for being low-key lit. It ain't about book smarts, fam. It's about having the courage to do what's right and putting in the effort. You gotta have a stiff upper back, you feel. People need to learn how to take initiative and get stuff done. It ain't all rainbows, though most people are hella extra, and they'll just mess around instead of taking action. You need people who can vibe with you on a higher level, fam. I put this idea to the test. I'm chillin' in my office. Got 6 clerks at my disposal. I ask one of them to look up Correggio in the encyclopedia, but for real, they're going to ask me, like 10 million questions first. They'll be all which encyclopedia? And who's Bismarck? And then they'll just ghost me. Most people ain't got the focus or the skills to get the job done. So yeah, if you're cool, just chill with that vibe. Don't bother explaining yourself to your homie. Just smile sweetly and tell them to never mind. Then go look it up yourself, 'cause nobody else is going to do the real work. It's on you, bruh. Side note, little Mao, don't get bounced by the man and this lack of self-motivation, this moral savagery, this whackness of will, this inability to just vibe with ithies are the things that put pure socialism so extra. If men won't act for themselves, what's good when everyone gets a cut? A real first mate is needed, and ain't nobody got time for that, no cap Saturday Night Live. Side note, trying to find a decent stenographer, but it's all trash advertised for a stenographer, and a 9 out of 10 who apply can't even spell their own name, let alone punctuate. Don't me, though. Can such a person write a letter to Garcia? "You see that bookkeeper?" said a foreman to me in a large factory. "Yeah, what's up with him?" Side noted, who needs someone like this? He's low-key a sick accountant, but if I sent him on an errand, he'd get it done, and then he'd probably stop at 4 bars on the way and forget what he was sent for. Can such a dude be trusted to carry a message to Garcia? We've been hearing a lot of sympathy for the struggle and homeless bros, but Nobody's talking about the real MVP, the boss, who puts in the work. Side noted, the weeding out process is real. Nothing said about the guy who grows old before his time, trying to get his team to step up their game. The constant sorting out of help, that's just loafing when nobody's looking. In every store and factory, there's a constant weeding out, sending away those who can't bring the heat. Side note, at times are scarce. Ain't no cap even when things are poppin'. This sorting is still real. Only when times get hard and work is scarce do we see some real culling. The employer who wants to keep it 100 will send away those who can't bring the fire, and that's just how the game goes. I know one dude with straight fire parts, but ain't got a clue how to run his own biz, and he's useless to anyone else because he's always salty about being oppressed. Can't even give orders, won't even receive them. Should he get a message for Garcia, his answer'd probably be, take it yourself, boo. Side note, this dude is a total spiritual cripple tonight. This dude's just walking around looking for work, wind whistling through his threadbare coat. Nobody who knows him can even get hired because he's always that one dude who's low key on fire with discontent. Can nobody even reason with him? The only thing that gets through is a straight up dose of reality yas. That's the toe, fire, number 9 boot, brah. For real, I feel for them who's low, key striving, but got to deal with the struggles 247. Their work hours ain't even tied to a clock, you know. They're trying to keep it together while dealing with all that extra drama. People think they're just basic and don't care, but nope, they're low, key carrying the weight. I gotcha? Maybe I'm hella harsh, but when everyone's slumming it, I want to give a shout out to the dude who actually makes something happen. They're like, hey, I got this. And then they realize, nothing much. They might not have a sick pad, but at least they ain't hungry or homeless. I'm trying to say it's two sides. Fam, being poor ain't all as cracked up to be you can't just got the works, 'cause you're broke. And same with employers. Bro, not all of them are straight up savage. My heart goes out to the dude who's down for work, even when the boss is away or they're chillin' at home. They might get some extra perks without having to deal with all that extra stress. We need more people like that, you feel? We got to keep it real and find those real MMVPs, the ones who do their thing no matter what. If they ask for something, we got to give it to them. And honestly, fam, nobody's more needed than that dude. They're everywhere, from cities to villages. Everyone wants one of them. Acting free and still knowing you got to take responsibility. That's the real move, bruh. It's like freedom ain't all it's cracked up to be if you can't keep your stuff together. Word here ends the preaching in a message to Garcia by Fran the Roycrofters, and in East or Nigh. Life is lit. My heart's prayer isn't to be good or learned, but to just shine bright. I want to radiate health, cheer, sincerity, the whole 9. I'm talking simple, honest, natural, all that jazz. Loki, I want to help people live their best lives, no cap. I'm trying to not be a hater, never step in when I'm not needed and ain't got to give unsolicited tea either. If I can lend a hand, I'll let them do the work themselves. If I can uplift or inspire, it's going to be through vibe, innuendo, and subtle hints, not by being all up in their grill. That's the tea. Trying to spread life, no filters. If I can lend a hand, I'll let them do the work themselves. If I can uplift or inspire, it's going to be through vibe, innuendo, and subtle hints, not by being all up in their grill. That's the tea. Trying to spread life, no filters.